Georgia Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. At the outset, I would like to express my deep gratitude to GIACC for the continued partnership and to Trilegal for bringing their expertise over to Atlanta.
Thank you, Srijan. Thank you, Trilegal team. So we have basic questions which needs to be addressed. During my interaction with you, you all have very basic questions of there's a delay in opening up business in India, so I have problems in operating in India, I have this, I have that. Of course, so many other issues, but we thought that we are looking, hey, we need to address this issue. Then when we are contemplating ourselves how to go about it, and Srijan correctly mentioned that I am an expert, we are not experts, we are all generalists. So we were looking for some expertise. Then came the mail from Trilegal. So we are actually.
Good evening everyone, a warm welcome to you all. It's a privilege to be here and to open this important engagement between two dynamic economies, India and the United States. Sincere thanks to the Consulate General of India to Southeast Asia, Shri Ramesh Babu Lakshmanan, Deputy General Consulate General of India, Mr. Shri Ramesh Babu Lakshmanan, and the President of Georgia.
With this August gathering, we'll moving on with the presentation. Nicholas said very helpfully set up the background as to why India, what is the story about India's growth, some facts and figures. Now, moving on a little bit, what are the sectors? I think the natural question that arises is what are the sectors of the future? What is there for us to look forward to in terms of India's growth sectors?
People have faced over here. I think it's a very good starting point for me, which is what is one word to describe India's growth? Right? Does anybody have an answer? Like one word, only one word.
Explosive.
Yeah. Anything else?
Exponential.
Exponential.
Inclusive.
Yeah, very important. Yeah. Anything else? Well, none of these are wrong answers. Absolutely. I can tell you this, that they are not wrong answers. But absolutely, that's very important as well. But all of this combined together leads to one another word, for which for me is really the description of what we are seeing in the last 10, 12 years, which is transformative growth.
But have a clause for arbitration. That's a better way to.
Yes, it can be U.S. It can be state of Georgia governing law, but the dispute mechanism needs to be arbitration because an arbitral award globally is much more.
But is that arbitral clause in the contract enforceable in India as well?
Yeah, I think a lot of our companies use Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore, Indians like Singapore, US like Singapore.
Because this is the application sector.
Yeah.
Marriage are Singapore, so you have to go to
And
the
everyone likes
application
Singapore.
And the Singapore sector primarily runs 60% of the disputes that resolve are Indian disputes.
Yeah, and that's a recent shift. You used to see Hong Kong as the primary hub for Southeast Asian arbitration. You don't see that anymore since the handover of the crackdown. It's all shifted to Singapore.
Just for the record, we get a lot of complaints from Indian suppliers who are supplied and the
Yeah,
same agreement that it is applicable. And actually, this company is not that they are asking us to we advise them, see, you have done all these things, come and put it in the court of law in Georgia or Alabama or any place and start the process. That's the only way.
I think that
I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been doing deals in India for 20 years. I also used to lead our China practice. And so if there's a useful contrast there in sort of how that economy has evolved relative to the India one as well. But when I advise clients, I give them sort of a three-legged stool on anything cross-border new market entry. It's going to take more time than they think it should. It's going to cost more money than they think it should, and it's going to be more complicated than they think it should be. And for the first decade and a half or so, as I was advising clients on going into the Indian market, it was the toughest on it's going to take longer than it should, and it's going to be more complicated than you think it should be. And the transformation in the Indian market in the last 5 to 7 years has been remarkable. The first deal I ever did in India, we didn't get past the LOI stage, and we negotiated the LOI for 24 months. But now things move more efficiently. you've got a lot of interest. And I will tell you, from my clients who do this type of work all over the world, I think India is going to by far be the largest beneficiary of the U.S.'s hard pivot away from China. I think you're seeing it already, and I think you're going to see it more and more.
So we are doing this event from a company called Trilegal. They approached us to have a session in Atlanta to seek how to attract investment to India and how to open a business in India and related queries, how to explore some more opportunities in Georgia as well. So we partnered with the Georgia Indo Chambers of Commerce and Industries, and we are having a session here. I hope today it will be great success, because a lot of queries on how to open business in India, what to do if they have some issues, where to do the basics. So we are going to address the basics of doing business in India, and you all know that India is one of the fastest growing large economies, and this is a good occasion where anybody who wants to invest in India, they could come and benefit out of this session.
So, as you know, Government of India has placed a great emphasis on improving the ease of doing business in India. And, one part of that is, easing the legal and regulatory compliance aspect. And, we want to make the foreign investors and businesses understand that, our legal and regulatory frameworks are very strong, very investor friendly, and anyone's money and investment is safe in India. That's why when we got the proposal from Trilegal, one of top law firms in India, to organize a knowledge sharing session, we were very happy to facilitate it with our local partner, Georgia Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. And we hope that people who have any kinds of doubts or misgivings, apprehensions about the legal issues in India are able to raise the questions and get them addressed by experts. This is also one part of a series of events that we plan to do to enhance India-U.S. bilateral business engagements and trade, and this is part of the larger vision of reaching $500 billion bilateral trade figures between India and U.S.
In terms of startups, I think what we are seeing is a huge push from the government to encourage startups. There is a startup program. Not a lot of funding has come through, but there are a lot of people who benefited directly from it. I think overall the work around enabling a startup ecosystem has been very, very good and is much appreciated. In terms of semiconductors, where India is, I think that is one of the most important wish list items that the Indian government would have at this point of time. We have actually personally worked on joint ventures where Taiwanese companies are tying up with Indian conglomerates to bring in semiconductor technology. We also actually recently worked with the government of India to set up a semiconductor fab. So we know how much keenness is there. In terms of being ready, I think the market is there. We need to create that manufacturing environment and capability. And especially with our recent push for electronics manufacturing, I think that is definitely a sort of very, very important investment that India is seeking today.
India is government's initiative towards policy regime and stabilizing the policy in the emerging sectors, especially in tech and tech-led sectors like space, and initiatives towards medical devices policy. Is in fact these steps have been taken by the government to ensure that there is stability, there is predictability, and for foreign investors to look at India more seriously.
It was a fantastic event, lovely to share insights with such an august gathering of Indian diaspora, of people from the community here in Atlanta. The key takeaways are people are, as the theme is, people believe in India's transformation story. People are really anxious to know what's driving that transformation. People want to be a part of it. What is required is for a lot more interaction, a lot more touch points to be established, where people's queries could get resolved, where the anxiety could be put to rest.
Our mission actually is to promote trade, bilateral trade between Georgia and India. And as part of that initiative, Trilegal, which is one of the biggest law firms in India, is here to educate a lot of interesting parties and companies who are looking to set up business in India. So that's the framework and the intent of this meeting that we are hosting today.